Hi guys, welcome to Lisa Lives. I'm hoping this picks up okay. I'm just using my phone, my iPhone for this one instead of video recorder. It might actually be better quality because the video recorder I have is not that great. Hopefully we'll be updating that soon. Last night I done a horror tag, which I got a few comments on, and a few more subscribers, which is awesome. Thank you very much to everyone that subscribed in the last day. Fantastic. I also did a video about the contents of my horror DVD shelf, which in my wisdom I have deleted instead of the tag one, and I have emptied the recycle bins such as my OCD for things building up, and I have wiped it off the memory card of the video recorder, so it's gone. I have installed, is it called USE's software to try and recover it? No chance. I have downloaded Drill Doctor, I think it's called, in an attempt to get it off the card, to get it out of the recycle bin. No, it's not happening. I've deleted it. Doughhead. Numpty. So, I'm just going to do it again. There aren't that many DVDs on my horror shelf. I think I was saying last night, I stopped buying DVDs a few years ago because I just had so many. We've moved house in the last 10 years, 13 times, which is a lot. Obviously moving from Ireland to England, lived there for 10 years. Nottingham, Derby, Yorkshire, several moves each town. Then back to Ireland, and we've moved three times since I've moved back. The joys of renting. You homeowners do not know how lucky you are. So, packing up all these boxes of DVDs every single time you move house is it's a pain in the bum. My husband has got an extensive vinyl collection. We both quite like books, but the vinyl and the DVDs and the books along with everything else, just too much stuff, so we just cut down the books to bare minimum, and the DVDs only kept things that we really liked or would be bought as gifts. So now I don't really buy DVDs. I do get them as gifts for Christmas and birthday sometimes, and I will occasionally treat myself to something if I've watched a movie and think it is outstanding, but not that often. So I don't have that extensive a DVD shelf. Not that much recent again, I don't really buy them, but I'll just show you what I've got. So I'll start here. You see my little Hellraiser picture canvassy thing here? That shouldn't be there. Not entirely sure why I've put that there. Sin City, awesome movie. It's not a horror, obviously. The cinematography in this is just beautiful to behold. Absolutely gorgeous. When I saw it at the cinema, I sat open-mouthed through the entire thing. It was just beautiful. A friend I had at the time, you could just absolutely guarantee if I liked something, he hated it, and vice versa. And I told him about this. I said, it's amazing, you have to see it. He went to see it. He said, I left early, it was the biggest pile of crap I've ever seen. It's like, how could you, oh. The same person likes things like, just crap, for want of a better word. I mentioned this one last night, Exorcism of Emily Rose. Really good movie, really creepy. A couple of scenes in it. Most notably, if you've seen it, the scene where she's in like an impossible position, like in an upside down crab, but weirder. That's just, ugh. The girl that stars in it, if you watch Dexter, the American show about the serial killer, which I absolutely adore, I love Dexter. I've watched the whole series through numerous times, really hacked off that they finished it, really irritated at how they finished it, kind of slight hope that maybe they've left it open-ended so they can do some more. We shall see. Anyway, the girl that plays Dexter's sister, Deborah, is the main actress in this that plays Emily Rose, Jennifer Carpenter. Is that right? Yeah. Good movie. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Drag Me to Hell. This is a weird purchase for me. I'm not a fan of, a lot of people will be like, boo. I'm not a fan of horror and comedy as a genre mixed. Okay, Evil Dead did it well. Army of Darkness did it well. And Shaun of the Dead did it really well. But generally, I just don't like horror and comedy combined. I want horror to frighten me, I want comedy to make me laugh, and most of the time I don't like them together. But with this one, there are bits in it that I don't know if they're meant, well, with it being like Sam Raimi again, I've already named a couple of his there, you can understand why it works, but it's mainly that thing where something is so disgusting, it's like, oh god, I can't watch it, it's disgusting, it's just like gross, like old lady tongue in the mouth and things like that. I think that happens at some stage, doesn't it? Anyway, this really made me laugh, so yeah, this is one of the exceptions to the rule. What have we got? Interview with a Vampire. Can't really say much about that. Brilliant movie, love it. And I love Tom Cruise. I know a lot of people give him a lot of stick, say he's a crap actor. There's very little that man has done that I do not like. I don't like... I should look these things up before I go to tell you what I don't like. The one he did where he was an actor. It's got a one-word title. Is it A Flower? Someone will know, tell me. Magnolia. I didn't like that. I didn't like Vanilla Sky. Besides those, really, really like Tom Cruise. Watch Born on the 4th of July and tell me he's not a good actor. Sweeney Todd, Johnny Depp. Funny story about this one. My husband, Darren, big horror fan, probably much bigger horror fan than me, much more in-depth knowledge about horror, especially older horrors. He hates musicals. He hates singing. If he's watching a movie and someone starts singing, you can see him visibly cringe. When we went to see this at the cinema, I didn't know it was a musical. I didn't know there was singing, and we were sat watching it. Cinematography, amazing. Special effects, when the body falls down through the floor, when like just lands in the stone, like cobbles below, gross, amazing. But they started singing, and Darren looked at me with a look of pure contempt. He thought I knew because I found his shrinking inside himself so funny. I was laughing at him and he thought I knew that it was a musical. I didn't, but it did amuse me that it disturbed him so much. I think he found that more disturbing than all the blood and guts in it. One of my favourite horrors, amazing. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original uncut version. I have watched the remakes. They're actually okay as far as horrors go, but nothing compares to this one for the creepiness. It's got a lovely little booklet inside, which is just I'm not gonna, just some facts and information about the film, the story of Ed Gein. So yeah, really nice. You buy these things and you put them in on your shelves and you don't really look through them, do you, for a long time. You forget what's in there. Nice disc as well. Yeah, so that's a must-see, must-have if you're a horror collector. Oh, that's Hellraiser's going to go in a minute. Sit. I don't know that this is really horror. Really good movie. Perfume, the story of a murderer. Dustin Hoffman, Alan Rickman, Rachel Hurd Wood, Ben Whishaw. It's the story of a man that is a master at making perfumes from scents that he smells, but he is so obsessed with the scent of women. It leads him, he's a serial killer for want of a better word. What does it say? In 18th century France, amongst the stinking entrails of rotting fish, Jean-Baptiste Grenouille is born. A genius, a monster, a murderer. Notoriously obsessed with scent, he embarks on an even more terrifying quest in search of the ultimate ingredient to create the most powerful perfume in the world. Really good movie. If you haven't seen it, give it a go. Look how beautiful that girl is. Red hair and pale skin together, just gorgeous. Don't know where that came from. Ginger Snaps. Really good little werewolf flick. I want to say recent, but is probably not that recent anymore. Obviously in comparison to things like American Werewolf in London, which will forever be my favourite. I can't ever see someone doing a werewolf movie that surpasses American Werewolf in London for me. Still, the transformation scene in the living room on the floor with the soundtrack in the background, just absolutely amazing. It's incredulous that to this day they haven't managed to surpass that scene, as far as I'm concerned anyway. You may disagree. But this one is about two sisters, one of which is a werewolf, and just about her coming into herself as a teenager, discovering what's happening, and just how it destroys her family. And it says at the end, a smart and quirky modern day interpretation of the werewolf myth. There hasn't been a bristler as perky, surprising and inventive as this since American Werewolf in London. And that's a quote from the Times. So I'll just give you an idea. I'm sure most of you have seen it. House of a Thousand Corpses. Fan of Rob Zombie in general. Like his music. Like most of what he puts out. This is my favourite that he's done. This is genuinely horrific. If something is like really weird and I'm gonna swear and fucked up, somehow it disturbs me more. I don't like it being so weird that it doesn't make sense and it's just daft. But putting things in a movie that other people haven't, that's just like, oh my god, yeah, I like that about this. The only thing I will say about Rob Zombie, I am sick to death of seeing his wife in movies. Sherry Moon, I think, is her name. Is it? I'm not going to read down that. I just pick someone else, Rob. Really, I'm sure there's another actress that you can put in your movies apart from your own wife. Getting tired of it. It's like Tim Burton and what's her face? Double-barreled name. Helena Bonham Carter. Just choose another person. Same as the last one, Devil's Rejects. They're bringing out a number 2 of this, aren't they? Or have I imagined that? Have I imagined it? I'm sure I haven't. I'm sure they're doing Devil's Rejects too. Wait till you see, they probably have already done it and I'm like 10 years behind everyone else. More like fantasy than horror. Oh, there's dust on there. Pan's Labyrinth, awesome movie. If you watched my tag video yesterday, I'm just looking, they've got little postcards in this. Oh, they're really nice, little artworks in there. See how you forget things? I might have to get, I prefer that one to be the front. I might have to get some little frames for that. Oh, see the things you forget. So that looks nicer, doesn't it, than the other cover. So that's the original cover. Oh, double disc, what's in there? This is all news to me. Disc 2. Video introduction by director, Guardian interview, featurettes, director's notebook, video prologue, blah blah blah, storyboard. Yeah, well, as I was saying in the tag video, if you don't take a chance on foreign cinema, you will miss gems like this. Gonna have a go at this. Is it Guillermo del Toro? Guillermo del Toro, I'm sure that's right. Is probably one of my favourite directors. His movies are just magical. I will say I didn't like Devil. Was that him? Was that? I'm sure it was. Or was that Eli Roth? Oh, I'm sorry. Just ignore that. I really like Guillermo del Toro. I have a real love, a soft spot for the Spanish language. At school when we were doing our A-levels, of which 2 of mine were French and German. So you can kind of see I'd like my languages. Spanish I took as like just an extra subject as a GCSE to do that year. And I absolutely love the Spanish language. It is beautiful. 2 words I love in particular. I don't know why I'm telling you this. One of them is the word for shoes, which is zapatos. And the other is the word for yellow, which is amarillo. You have to be able to roll your r to say the double L in yellow. But yellow shoes is my favourite Spanish expression. Where am I going with this? I'm sorry. So, Pan's Labyrinth, absolutely fantastic, magical. The only way I can explain it is it's like an adult fairy tale. It's just stunningly beautiful to watch. Creepy, a bit scary, but just stunning. Watch it. One is out at the minute called The Shape of Water, which I really want to see. I've heard really good things about. My friends Kelly and Dave went to the cinema to see it, and they've both said it was fantastic. So I really want to get out and see that one. Shallow Grave, nice little British horror. How old is this now? You forget how old. 1994. My God, that's... You forget how old these things are, and it makes you feel ancient. Yeah, nice little British horror flick. One of the better ones. Oh, I've got two. What have I got? Silent Hill, one I was talking about the other day. Pixie Dust mentioned this, and Chris from Two Vloggers More also was commenting. Really like this movie. I love the original game. I know that there's a tendency towards horrors being made from games franchises that don't tend to be that good, but I feel that this is one of the better ones. I don't know what his name is. The big guy with the triangular head. Is it going to say here? No. No, I'm not going to search it. And you've got that massive big like knife sword thing. And the nurses. Freaky as hell. If I was any good at cosplay, at makeup, at all that sort of stuff, I would want to be one of those nurses for Halloween, because it's honestly just creepy ass. They managed to get that quality from the Silent Hill movies, from the Silent Hill games, that sort of like a very isolated, sort of being in the middle of nowhere on your own, in the fog, in the mist, and then the soundtrack of the game, like the sirens. There's always something really creepy about those old-fashioned air-raid siren warnings. They just, to me, the movie translated the game really, really well. Okay, people have said, name a movie that you really like that other people hate. Yesterday I forgot about this. Everyone hates this, don't they? I saw this before it was released. It may just have been on in the cinema. It was an Asian import. It had the Asian subtitles. I'm not sure. It either hadn't hit the cinemas here, or it just had. And I saw it on a really poor quality DVD copy with Asian subtitles. I say Asian, I don't know if it was Japanese, Chinese, Korean, I'm not sure. And maybe the quality added to it, but I really liked it. There was a lot of hype around it at the time where people said it was... Is this my naivety that people said it was real found footage? I think I would have been about 19 or 20 when this came out. I can't see a year. 1999. I would have been just over 20 when this came out. So quite a long time ago. I enjoyed it. Even though I do know now that it's all fabricated, and a lot of people say it's crap and it's just filling up some girl's nose, etc, etc. I like the feeling of it. I like the creepiness about it. It's a movie I like. It feels quite heavy as well. I'm just wondering what's in there. Alien Legacy box set. If you haven't seen it, watch it. I cannot rave enough about this movie. It's perfect. The characters, I think, I know James Caan has done an awful lot of stuff, but I think this is the best thing he's ever done. Just, there's not one thing wrong with this movie. Nothing. Brilliant. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. One pet peeve, I'm sure you can guess what it is. What's her face is in it again? Helena Bonham Carter. I like her, I just don't want to see her so much. I'd like to see someone else in period, like Old English period things. I'm on a little poofy thing here on the ground and it's not the most comfy. Robert De Niro was amazing in this. I always end up feeling sorry for the monster in Frankenstein, but especially so in this version, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Poor thing. It's like this thing where my friend Kelly, who I'm hoping is watching, when she was a kid, this is so cute, she would always buy the ugliest teddy bears because she thought that no one else would and they would all get lonely, so she would buy them. And it's kind of like, I bet she feels exactly the same about this. I bet she feels so sorry for Frankenstein. I'm not going to make that mistake. Not Frankenstein. Frankenstein's monster. I bet she feels really sorry for him because no one loves him. Because they're frightened of how he looks. I feel the same. Oh, they'll have to get the two at the same time. Battle Royale 1 and 2. I have to admit I haven't watched this yet. This is one of my favourite Japanese horror movies. I'm trying to think what other ones. Other Japanese movies I like don't tend to be horror. Old Boy, Ichi the Killer. I saw a really good one recently called, well, a year or so ago, called Train to Busan. I think it's on Netflix, possibly. I maybe imagined that. It was good. It's like a low budget zombie horror. Good. Japanese have a way of doing horror and like creepy movies in a way that is genuinely disturbing, that somehow American and British filmmakers have not managed to do as yet. All you need to do to see that is watch the original Ring movies, watch the original Ju-on, The Grudge. There's loads, Dark Water. Just watch the original Japanese versions, then watch the remakes. And although a standalone movie, some of the remakes are okay. When you've seen the Japanese version first, it just doesn't compare. Now, I think I may have lent my dad some of these, because there's no way I've only got 3 of these. The Saw movies. You heard me rant about Saw last night in my tag video. Big fan, love the franchise, love the idea, love the warpedness of it all, love the backstory, how it's all thought out, how everything slots together. You know, trying to work out what people have done, trying to work out what's going to happen with whatever the trap may be. Just love the premise. Maybe I'm sick and twisted, who knows. And that's just a little book alongside it that a friend bought for me for my birthday or Christmas a few years back. Nice little book. Oh, I have to show you this. Kelly and Dave sent this to me. It's a little Saw, you see little figure there, and the little puppet on the bicycle in the background, and then you've got the main piggy-faced killer guy at the in the forefront. What do you? Well, jigsaw colour. It's pretty cool. I'm torn between taking this out of the box, but I haven't, because I really want to put Billy on the bicycle. But I quite like the packaging of this, so who knows. Oh, I had a little thingy that held this up on the shelf. It's disappeared. Alright, this row. Some of these may be my husband's DVDs. This one is another purchase. Kelly and Dave bought him this one. You will find that anything that I say a friend has bought us is generally always Kelly and Dave. They tend to have awesome taste. So, City of the Living Dead. It's a Fulci. Fulci. I do really rate Fulci. My husband is a massive fan of all things zombie. Most notably the old Romero movies. I think, if I get this wrong, he will kick my backside. Is it Dawn of the Dead is his favourite? I think so. I became aware of Fulci when my friend and I did there's a list, I think it's a UK list of what's called video nasties, which are VHS that were banned in, I want to say the 80s, was it the 70s and 80s? And they actually put, I've actually got it somewhere here, where is it? Why can't I see it? There it is. Video nasties. So this has got 72 movies. For the first time ever on DVD, all 72 films that fell foul of the Director of Public Prosecutions are trailered with specifically filmed intros for each title in a lavish 3-disc collector's edition box set. So it's got things like Cannibal Holocaust and zombie flesh eaters and, you know, all those like pretty gross things. I Spit on Your Grave, what else? Driller Killer, you know, all that sort of thing. So me and a friend actually went through these and a movie every week, and we would review. We would each do our own review on all of these movies. The site is still out there somewhere. I may put a link in the description if I can find it. So we went through all of these, watched them all, and then I think we did the Time Out list of top 100 horrors. Watched them all, reviewed them all. It was really interesting. So that's where I became aware of who Fulci was. Because for the whole, the video's nasty list was probably 3/4 absolute dross, 1/4, yeah, that's interesting. Fulci would have been the one that sort of came through for me as being really good. Sorry, that was a bit of a deviation, but I've seen his name on the bottom there. There was someone else. Who was the guy that played Dracula years and years ago? Really liked him. His name's not coming to me. I'll probably link it above here somewhere. An actor. He's just got the most hypnotic eyes. No. It's not come. It nearly came to me and then it went away again. No. I'll link the name above. So, then we've got Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue, another of my husband's. Let Sleeping Corpses Lie. What a good tagline. Night of the Living Dead Reanimation, another one of Darren's. This is one of his favourites. George A. Romero, Box of the Dead. That's got Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Land of the Dead, Diary of the Dead. The least said about that last title, the better. We left the cinema early when that came out. And that's saying something for fans of the genre. Shadow of the Vampire, another one of my husband's. It's actually still shrink wrapped. He really liked this film, so he just bought himself a copy of it. It's the whole original Nosferatu thing. What a vampire should have been, really. What? Didn't know Nicolas Cage produced this. It's news to me. Halloween! With a little boop 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 hologram. And a little booklet. Forgot about that one. Double disc presentation. It's got lots of bits and bobs on there. Video Nasties, Blade movies. I don't know why I still have them. I did like them when they came out, Blade 1 and 2. I did like Wesley Snipes in the role, but looking back now, I haven't seen them since probably a couple of years since they were released, so I probably could get rid of them. 300, not really a horror. Good movie though. Hills of Eyes. There's 2 here. Right, so we've got the original Wes Craven Hills of Eyes, and we have the remake, the more recent one. I'm trying to remember what year that was. They never make it easy for you to see the year on the back, do they? Nope. Can't see it without boring you to tears looking for it. Same again. Yeah. Again, the characters in this, it's just that eerie creepiness that they've got. It's like, ooh, he's just a weird man. It's got that same quality that the family sitting around the table in, oh my god, my brain's gone blank, at the end of, is it Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where they're all sat around the family and they put the girl's head over the bucket and they're hitting her head with a hammer. That's a just weird, horrid part of a movie. If it's not Texas Chainsaw, I'll link what I mean. But yeah, it has that same quality to me. I'm glad you people like horror and you understand what I mean, because when you try having this conversation with normal people, they look at you like, do I need to be worried about you? 28 Days and Weeks Later. I do like these movies. I have an issue with the whole bumbling slow zombie that always seems to catch up on you when you're running or whatever. and people running always fall down, blah blah blah. The fact that these guys move fast as hell, I think, make them scarier. I know a lot of people disagree with that, but for me, I find a really fast zombie a lot more terrifying than a slow one. Shaun of the Dead. I already mentioned that I really like. It's one of the few comedy horrors I like. Oh, it's an old Blockbuster one, $11.99. That'll be from my days of working, well, managing a Blockbuster store. I really don't know. This must be Darren's Rabbit. I don't even know if I've seen that. Buried Alive. Edgar Allan Poe's Buried Alive. Now this is not the movie that I thought it was. Someone may be able to tell me what this movie is. Many years ago, as a child, I saw a movie that stayed with me for many years where, I want to say, a female criminal in prison wanted to get out, and the plan was that the gravedigger was going to be put in a coffin with a corpse, and the gravedigger was going to dig her up an hour later, or later that day. But at the end of the movie, she's getting hotter and hotter in the coffin, under the ground, the oxygen's getting lower, she's beginning to panic a bit, she doesn't hear anyone coming. She either has a lighter or a match, I can't remember which one, and when she lights it, the person that's in the coffin with her, buried with her, is the gravedigger that's meant to be digging her out. So obviously she knows that no one's coming for her, and that's it. And it's just a genuinely creepy movie moment. I thought that's what this was, but it isn't. Save your breath, no one can hear you scream. House on the Haunted Hill. Vincent Price, this is my other half. He's a big fan of the old horrors like Vincent Price, Christopher Lee, all that sort of thing. A lot of you will say, yeah, he's got taste. Fright Night. Again, that's my husband's. Hasn't been opened up. These, I'll bring these all down at once. These were sent over by a friend, I think from Australia, called Rory. These are, what are they? Can't remember. Anyway, they're all from the same line, Monster Pictures. So we've got Father's Day, which is still shrink wrapped, I haven't seen it. This, to me, is the best of the bunch. American Mary, really good movie, about a doctor that performs surgeries that normal surgeons do not want to perform. You know, weird stuff like a person wants a limb to be amputated for whatever reason, she'll do it. Two sisters, I think they're sisters, I don't think they're just friends. They want to be attached, sewn together like conjoined twins, so she does things like that. Weird movie, but good. Antisocial, can't remember if I've seen this. I watch so many movies, sometimes I find it really hard to remember what I've actually seen. All Superheroes Must Die, I don't know if I've seen that. Contracted, I think I've seen them all. I'd be very surprised if I hadn't. Big Ass Spider, I haven't seen that because even the title itself, just like, no. This is the sort of thing that my husband and Dave would sit down and really enjoy. In the vein of those like Sharknado, of those weird like funny horrors. Darren and Dave once sat and watched, and me and Kelly had to sit through, it's Japanese horror, what's it called? Oh, it was of Tokyo Gore Police. It's one of the worst things I have ever had the misfortune to sit in front of in my life. They both thought it was brilliant because it was so bad. Anyway, Big Ass Spider reminds me of that sort of thing. The Yellow Sea, still shrink wrapped, haven't seen it. A Violent Thrill Ride to the dark new corner of Asian cinema. Looks like that might be quite good actually. A lonely taxi driver in China struggling with the burden of massive debts owed to the mob. That's why I haven't watched it. Gangster movies turn me off. He is offered a way out of his problems, travel across the Yellow Sea to Korea and assassinate an enemy of the mob. He accepts and begins a journey of violence, double crosses, and some of the most intense hand-to-hand hatchet action you're ever likely to see. So I haven't seen that. And this one, Dead Hooker in a Trunk. I think that one was quite good as well, as far as I remember. Yeah, I think that was quite... yeah. Sorry, but I just don't remember everything I watched. Oh, almost finished. It's the only one of the few steel books we own. I bought it for my husband for Christmas a few years back, Nosferatu. He hasn't even taken this bit off the top, so I don't know if I can even open it for you to let you... It's alright, it's just got those little sticky things on. Let's see, got 2 discs, and what's this? I don't know why I'm telling you to shh, because he'll watch this and know I've been into his things. Nosferatu. Oh, so it's quite an in-depth little booklet there with information about the movie. Yeah, so he's a big fan of that movie. I think he's got it on several mediums. The only Blu-ray I own, Martyrs. This was for sale at like a $5, so I had to pick it up. I've just never really, I haven't bought a Blu-ray player. I know a lot of people update their obviously there was originally the VHS to DVD, then DVD to Blu-ray, and now is it 4G? But we don't do that. We're not that affluent. We don't have that much disposable income, so we don't tend to replace movies with more updated versions. DVD does is just fine at the minute. Going forward we may buy more Blu-rays. We may not. Who knows? Anyway, Martyrs. French movie. Amazing. Fantastic. If you haven't seen it, get it, watch it. I'm not going to tell you anything about it. I saw it with no prior knowledge of what it was about, which is the best way to see it. I watched that and Switchblade Romance, which is another French movie, I think on the same day. Both really good. This one. This was bought as a joke by a friend of ours called Roy, who lives in Orkney. Vampiros Lesbos. Now, there was just constantly really bad jokes floating between Darren and Roy about this movie, so he bought him a copy. I haven't watched it. It's the joke... I don't know if any American people will realise what I'm talking about here, but anyone from the UK that has watched Bottom and Rick Mayall's character, I love Bottom. It's just so funny. For anyone in America, Rick Mayall and Ed Edmondson, 2 really popular British comedians. 2 of the members of the original Young Ones series did a series called Bottom, which is just hilariously funny. Just slapstick, gross, crude, just funny. And they're forever talking about the magical island of Lesbos, which is a real place. I'm like, what? Anyway, they're either joking about the magical island of Lesbos or Vampiros Lesbos. That's why he bought this. Juvenile man. Asia Extreme, tell me something. Nothing's occurring to me at the moment about that. It should be, because it looks like something I would like. I'm going to have to watch that again. Powerfully atmospheric. Imagine Seven and Basic Instinct crossed with CSI. That sounds pretty damn good, doesn't it? Gruesome and twisted. Some crimes are best left unsolved. If I haven't seen it, I need to watch it again. I was going to say something then and it's left me. Pardon me. I've got a lot of movies that haven't really been acquired in the most legal of manners. Like a lot of copied DVDs from different people, like the entire Video Nasties list, the entire Time Out 100 list, the entire, you know, anything with a massive franchise like Friday the 13th, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, you name it, any 70s, 80s, 90s horror movie that had numerous sequels, I've got in a big file, like just loads and loads of discs. But they're not on my shelves because they're copies. So I do have a lot more horrors than this, just not originals. That's just a Hitchcock box set, so that's not really horror. I think, as far as original horrors, that's it. Like I say, there are a lot more things. Just off the top of my head, Child's Play, Phantasm, Critters, you know, all this stuff. Hellraiser, all those original 70s, I don't know so much 70s, 80s and 90s movies. I do have copies of all of them that I can watch, just not in my to show collection. So be really interested to hear your viewpoints on any of the movies I've showed you, or even to see some of your horrors. At a later date I will probably do, I've got quite a few like series, like TV shows that I buy. I've got some 80s DVDs like you know, like The Breakfast Club and Something Kind of Wonderful and Pretty in Pink, all that sort of stuff. So I will probably do another DVD video in the near future. But for now, over and out from Lisa Loves. Give me a like, a subscribe if you haven't, we really appreciate it, and thank you so much to the people that have subscribed recently. It means a lot. Thanks very much. Bye.